Mix TV presents the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show, presented by Check Into Cash, your one-stop money shop. Also by Hardee's. Hardee's tastes like America. Now it's time for your local sports highlights and interviews with your host, Ryan Lovelace.
Welcome to the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show presented by Check Into Cash and Hardee's. I'm your host, Ryan Lovelace. An exciting episode this week. Obviously tonight at 7:30, the big game between Walker Valley and Cleveland. We're going to talk to both their coaches and some of their athletes. Also, for the first time, we have two male performers of the week. And we also have our usual female performer of the week. But jumping right in, we're going to start off with our scoreboard recap from last week. Starting off first with Baylor. Baylor takes care of Pope John Paul. Big win for Baylor. They win by 21. McCallie just dominating a very good Knox Catholic team. This McCallie team is one of the best in the state, no matter what classification, and they come out with a huge win. Up next, Sweetwater goes to Kingston, and Kingston comes out with a win to remain on top of that region. We'll talk about the region standings just in a second. Polk County goes to Tyner. Coach Scott Chandler and the Tyner Rams remain undefeated with a big win over Polk County. Also, Silverdale and Boyd Buchanan, our game of the week. Back and forth affair. Silverdale comes out with a huge win. The Seahawks remain undefeated. And then Ray County goes to Ooltewah and handles business. They come out with a big win. Meigs County and Tellico Plains. Meigs, the best team in the state in the 3A AP polls. They shut out Tellico Plains 41-0. 2 defensive touchdowns for Meigs County. Meanwhile, McMinn Central, they played their third 2-point game this year, but for the first time they come out with a victory in a 2-point game. They beat Brainerd 20-18. Moving to the other end of McMinn County, the Cherokees shut out Howard. They win 37-0. And then over in Middle Tennessee, a late night game that went to 3 overtimes. Walker Valley handles Smith County. They win in the third overtime 19-13. Coming back to Bradley County, the Bradley Central Bears hosted Hardin Valley. Slow start for the Bears, but they get the win. They stay undefeated. Coach Floyd, his 100th win as a Bradley Bear. And then over at Benny Monroe Stadium, the Raiders play a tough one against Farragut. It goes down to the wire, and the Raiders come out with a win. Those are our football scores. Moving on to girls soccer. Walker Valley plays Cleveland, and Cleveland wins 2-0, a huge win for the Raiders. They haven't beat Walker Valley in a while, and they finally come away with a win. Meanwhile, Bradley drops one to Ooltewah. Ooltewah wins 4-0. And then Bradley plays Cleveland in soccer. The same week, Cleveland comes away with a big 1-0 win. So Cleveland sweeps Bradley County in girls soccer. Moving on to volleyball, Bradley sweeps Ray County 3-0. Also, Cleveland sweeps Walker Valley 3-0. Last night, Walker Valley was supposed to go to Ray County. That game got postponed. That's all for our Hardee scoreboard update. Now we're going to hop right into our football standings. First, in 6A Region 3, you have your two undefeated teams in the region, Maryville and Bradley Central, sitting at the top. Cleveland's in third, followed by Bearden. Those are your 4 playoff teams halfway through the season. And then Farragut and Hardin Valley are winless at the bottom. Moving on to 5A Region 4, Ray County and Walker Valley are both undefeated in the region. Ray County has the advantage. They've played another region game. McMinn County 1-1, Ooltewah and Howard both winless in the region. In 4A, Chat Central 3-0. They have played a lot of region games. East Hamilton's also undefeated in region. This is a tough Region 3 here. Hickson, Red Bank, they both have 1 loss. And then Soddy, East Ridge, and Sequoia have each dropped 2 in the region. Moving on to 3A, Kingston and Loudon, they both sit undefeated on the year, undefeated in the region. That's going to be an exciting game coming up in a few weeks. Signal and McMinn Central, both 1-1, and then Brainerd and Sweetwater are winless. In 2A, Meigs County, they're ranked first in the state. They're undefeated this year, undefeated in the region. Tyner, they're also undefeated, 1-0 in the region. Marion County, they're also undefeated. A very interesting Region 3 and 2A. You have 3 teams that are undefeated and 3 teams that are winless. A clear divide. It'll be interesting to see what team comes out of that 4th spot for the playoffs. And then moving down to 1A, South Pittsburgh, big win over Whitwell. They're 1-0, undefeated on the year as well. Sale Creek's, they are 1-3 overall, 1-0 in the region. Copper Basin 1-1, and then Lookout Valley and Whitwell both winless. That is all for our standings update. Now we're going to send it over to the Cleveland Country Club to speak with our co-male performers of the week. Ryan Lovelace here at the Cleveland Country Club, joined by our male performers of the week, Walker Valley golfers Ian Kinsey and Ben Roach. Ian, Ben, you guys both shot 76th. That was enough for co-runners-up at the district tournament. Can you talk a little bit more about your performance?
I played pretty good. We came out with second. That's basically it.
The front nine went better for me than the back nine. In my opinion, I kind of played bad towards the end, but it was enough to win.
So you guys came out, you took home the district title as a team in some tough conditions. Can you talk about how good this team was?
How good the team was?
How good the team was.
We've played good all year. Districts was kind of not the best rounds from all of us, but we still won, so you can't ask for much more.
Yeah, like what he said, our team has been pretty good all year. Districts was tough because it was pretty rainy, but yeah.
So you guys got regionals coming up Tuesday. How are you guys preparing for that?
Getting ready to go for a practice round right now. Learn the course a little bit more than we do right now. Just going out and just practicing more.
Yeah, to get out here and learn the greens and stuff would be, kind of just a big deal for me because most of them are members out here. I think the regional should go a lot better for us than the district did.
So what are your individual goals for the rest of the year?
For regionals, I'm hoping for top 10. If I shoot a really good round and I don't make it in top 10, I'm not gonna be mad at it. I'm just gonna try and think about next year.
Probably like what he said, probably top 10.
So how long have you been golfing and how'd you get into golf?
I've been golfing since I was 11, going into 6th grade. And I got in from my uncle. My uncle just said, "Hey, come with me." I was like, "Where are we going?" He said, "The golf course." I was like, "Okay." I ain't got nothing else to do.
I've been golfing since I was 9 because, man, that's kind of like one of my family sports. My grandpa is in the Michigan Hall of Fame for golf, so, I was kind of forced to play.
So I know I'm holding you guys up for your tee time. So lastly, who's your favorite professional golfer and why?
Jordan Spieth. I like the way he maneuvers around the course.
Tiger Woods, just because he's the best, and, you got to think like the best to be the best, so.
This has been Ryan Lovelace. For the first time ever, we have 2 male performers of the week. These guys will compete in the regional golf tournament Tuesday, but now we're going to send it over to Cleveland to visit with our female performer of the week. Ryan Lovelace here at Cleveland High School, joined by our female performer of the week, Mary B. Smith. Mary, obviously this Cleveland volleyball program has been very successful for a very long time, and it's more of the same this year. You guys are having a great season. Can you talk about how this program's been able to keep repeating successful seasons?
I think that we have a bunch of great girls on our team, every year, and they all want the same thing. And I think that we're all working towards the same thing, and, we all obviously love each other and care about each other, and that's definitely part of it. And we just all want to make each other the best player that we can be all the time. And I think that it shows on the court and off the court. And I think that it's just doing the little things all the time. And I think that that's what's made us probably the most successful is just constantly, early morning practices and just doing the little things, talking and pushing each other as hard as we can. So
you're a senior on this team. How do you think you've been a leader to these younger girls?
Definitely just by setting the example. They all look up to us, and they watch how we act on the court. They watch how we act off the court, and so definitely just leading by example and just showing them, if you love the sport, just give it your all and work hard.
So postseason play coming up here real soon. What are the team's goals for the upcoming playoffs?
It's definitely to win district again and to go on and compete in region and sub-state and then potentially, state tournament. And so our goal is to make it all the way to the state championship, and that's just really what we're working for right now.
So individually, do you have any goals when it comes to colleges or awards you can win?
I definitely am planning on playing collegiate volleyball, and so haven't really decided yet where, but I've got a few options.
So how long have you been playing volleyball, and how'd you get into volleyball?
So I started playing volleyball in middle school, and my freshman year is when I started playing clubs. So I've played clubs since my freshman year, and so it's just been kind of since the start of 6th grade, and I just kind of picked up the sport and fell in love with it, really.
So who is your role model and why?
My mom most likely is my role model just because she does a lot for me, and she's always there, always comforting, and always taking her time out of the day to do everything she needs for me and for this sport. So.
All right, lastly, what is your favorite sports movie?
Definitely Facing the Giants. It's definitely my favorite sports movie.
This has been Ryan Lovelace at Cleveland High School with our female performer of the week, Mary B. Smith. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back to talk about our game of the week.
Did you wake up craving a made-from-scratch biscuit topped with tender prime rib and a fried egg? How about now? The new prime rib and fried egg biscuit at Hardee's. Feed your happy.
You're watching the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show, presented by Check Into Cash and Hardee's. Now back to your host, Ryan Lovelace.
Ryan Lovelace here at Walker Valley High School, joined by head football coach Drew Akins. Coach, last week you guys had a long road trip over to Smith County, a crazy physical game. You guys came out with a big win in triple overtime. How big was it for this team to come out with a win?
Yeah, it was a hard-fought game. I really was so impressed by Smith County and their effort and the way their kids played. Kudos to them. They made everything difficult on us all night. It's always great to come off games like that where you feel disappointed in the way you played, but it's always nice to come off with a win. Sometimes you come off that disappointment and you lose, and then it just feels like the world is on top of you. For us to come out with a win, obviously there's negatives that we've tried to fix throughout this week, but coming off a win is big time, and it showed a lot of maturity by our kids to have a game where it's really difficult and where there's a lot of adversity. That we had a lightning delay to start the game. We were behind schedule. It was a long trip. There was a lot of things going against us, and for our guys to come out and find a way to win shows a lot of maturity over the last 3 weeks that we've kind of made as a program. So always glad to come out of a win, even though there was a lot to get cured this week. And I think we've really worked on those things to make sure that we've handled kind of the mental aspect of what cost us the other night.
So everybody talks about this offense. Ryan Lay, he's thrown for 1,000 yards this year. But this defense is allowing right around 200 yards a game. Very underrated. Can you talk about just how good this defense has been?
Yeah, I try to always give those guys credit. Our defensive staff has done an unbelievable job prepping for games and coming up with great plans for the schemes that we're going against. Our guys play hard. I think that's the biggest thing that's changed since we've been here is we've created this mentality of effort and energy that our defense has really bought into, and we call it just a dog mentality, just always going, always pressing, and to see that kind of play out, on the football field on Friday nights. So proud of our staff and our players for playing so hard, and playing that hard has turned into a lot of success on that side of the ball. I think we're giving up just over 11 points a game right now. That's one of the best in school history. Just really proud of what we're doing on the defensive side of the ball, and really the past 2 weeks it's kind of given our offense a chance to come alive. Last week it took all the way to the overtime period, but our defense really is who gave us a chance in that game to be able to come out during overtime and find a way to win.
So once again, you guys will travel this week, but it's not 3 hours to Smith County. You're going 20 minutes to Cleveland, a big crosstown rivalry game, but we haven't seen this rivalry in a few years. How excited are you to get this game back?
Yeah, I'm excited. It was one of those things when Marty got Cleveland and I got here, the schedule was already made and it already had kind of split that rivalry up. So we've been talking for 2 years, hey, when we renew contracts, we need to make sure this game gets on schedule. I think it was one of the first games that we actually got got on schedule. Once we got the new renewed contracts, we set it first before we set anything else. So just excited for our kids. You know, our kids grow up together. They go to church together. They live in this community together. And it gives them a chance to compete with each other. It's something that I'm really excited for our kids. I'm excited for their kids. I'm excited for both programs. I'm excited for our community. You know, it's a bye week for Bradley Central, so it gives everybody a chance to come out and watch the game. It gives a great gate. You know, those things are all things that matter, and they support our program and their program. So it's definitely great to have that rivalry back, and something that we're talking about the emotions of those rivalries, because you know, these games do get emotional because you're so close and you know each other so well. So just making sure we control our emotions and we just play the game the way it's supposed to be played and do it to our level and our discipline. And I think, you know, the scoreboard handles itself if you can handle your emotions.
So lastly, real quick, what are your keys to coming out with a victory tonight?
Yeah, you know, first of all, I think our defense is going to have to continue to compete the way they are. You know, they've played so well, and coming up with a plan to make sure that we have, you know, number 44, Tito, looked at, make sure we have number 2, Destin, looked at, make sure we have these guys that we know are playmakers for them. You know, number 5 supposed to be back. All these guys that can go score, we got to make sure that we have our eyes on them and we play our keys every single opportunity that we get. And then offensively, we've got to protect the football. I know that's something that we really struggled with last week. We had 3 turnovers, and we've got to protect the football. And then we got to get away from this explosive 2-play drive mentality, and we've got to make sure we're disciplined enough to have the 10, 12, 15-play drives that I think it's going to take, because their defense is so good at not giving up explosive plays that we're going to have to really key in on doing your job over and over and over, being consistent in that, because if you don't, you get one negative play, it makes it difficult to keep a drive alive.
This has been head coach of the Walker Valley Mustangs, Drew Akins. Now we're going to speak with some of his athletes. Ryan Lovelace, joined by Brady Montgomery, Judah Green, and Aiden Gibson. Judah, you guys had a big road trip over to Smith County, a crazy 3 overtime game, but you guys came away with the win. How awesome was it to come back home late at night with a huge win?
Well, even though it was a very long 3-hour drive, it was good to come back with a win. It took us a while to get started, but I feel like we really showed out in the fourth quarter and in overtime.
So, Aiden, right now you're 3rd in the county in receptions. Ryan Lay's thrown for over 1,000 yards. This offense has been electric. Can you talk more about just how good this offense has been?
We have so many guys that we can hand the ball to, and they can be explosive with it. You know, the depth is just incredible. I mean, we've got Spencer Jackson at running back. We've got 2 other receivers right now that whenever they get the ball, they're going to get yards, and they're going to push down the field. So we just got a very explosive offense, and we've got a ton of depth.
So, Judah, coming back to you, I mean, you hear about the offense all the time here at Walker Valley, but this defense, you have 3 guys in the top 5 in the area in tackles. You've allowed the least amount of yards in the area. Can you talk about just how underrated this defense has been?
I just feel like we're dominant in every aspect of our game. I feel like we're very well balanced. You know, we have Miles Mann, who really leads our D-line, and then Eli, who kind of leads the whole defense. You know how good he is.
So, Brady, obviously, big game versus Cleveland. How have you guys prepared to go down to Cleveland and play a tough rivalry game?
We've been watching a lot of film, and I believe our coaches have put together a great game plan for this Cleveland team. I think we've got a real good chance.
All right, so we're just going to go down the line right fast. Halfway through the season, 5 games left. What goals are you chasing for the rest of the year?
Every time I get the ball, do the best that I can each time. You know, give 100% every time you get it. Make an opportunity out of something. So,
you know, just as a defense, we're striving to just hold opponents at the least amount of points possible just throughout the rest of the year.
Just want to get every tackle on the ground, make them snap it again.
So how long have you guys been playing football, and what got you into football?
This is my 7th year playing. Just something I thought I was just going to try out, and started doing it, and I started loving it. So ever since then, it's helped me the most out of all my sports that I've played. So.
Yeah, for me, it's my 8th year playing, and I've just always played. I've always watched football just with my family. It's just been a thing in my life.
I fell in love with it in 2nd grade, and I haven't turned back since.
All right, so what NFL player do you play like, and why?
I don't know. we'll say DK Metcalf. He's a big dude, fast dude, gives it all. So,
I'm saying Ndamukong Suh. Just how I play.
I like to compare myself to Harrison Smith.
All right, lastly, do you have a favorite sports movie, and what is that movie?
I like the Benchwarmers. That's funny, so it's a good movie.
Mine has to be Rocky IV. Just the training scenes in that are unmatched, I feel like.
I got to go with the Waterboy.
All right, this has been Ryan Lovelace here at Walker Valley High School, joined by a few Mustangs. They're going to make the drive 20 minutes down I-75 to Cleveland, and now we're going to make the drive to speak with Coach Wheeler and some of his guys. Ryan Lovelace here at Cleveland High School, joined by head football coach Marty Wheeler. Coach, coming off a huge district win over Farragut, it was a tough, gritty one. How proud are you, and how good was this team last week?
We're extremely proud of them. It was a huge region game for us, we knew the importance of the game, and we definitely didn't want to go start down 0-2 in the region. And nobody wants to do that, and both teams were in that situation. So I think both teams knew the importance of that game, and it was a heck of a game. One of them I hadn't been in one like that in a while, so it was a lot of fun when it was over. But extremely proud of the way these guys responded in the second half. They got challenged at halftime. Really challenged at halftime, and so it's like I say all the time. There's going to be challenges. I get challenged daily, but it's how you respond is what we're looking for, and a sign of a good team. And they responded well, I thought, in the second half.
So you guys are 4-1 this year. You've had a lot of ups and downs. You mentioned it, the resiliency this team's had. How have you guys sort of instilled that mentality of we can get through this?
Oh, I think without a doubt, it starts in the weight room. During the off season. So in January and all the way through till spring practice, the time these guys put in, whether it was at 6 in the morning or in the afternoons, however we had to make it happen, it's the work and what they were put through in the weight room in the off season, I think, and you constantly bring that up and talk about it. It doesn't take, all you gotta do is mention it, and they remember it because they know how difficult it was, what we made them do. But we had to do that. We needed to get ourselves in a situation where we could physically compete, at this level. And so now, we're stronger now. We've got guys, you've seen them. They're bigger. They look better. We look like in some areas, in a lot of areas, we look like a football team, and in some, we're a little undersized in some areas, but not strength-wise. So it's definitely, I would credit the way they've been able to overcome the adversity we've dealt with this year, which is whether it be injuries, whether it be on the road, all right, or whether it would be like some mistakes we've made ourselves. We've done a really nice job of that for the most part of overcoming it. And I think it all starts in the weight room.
So you got Walker Valley tonight, huge game, big rivalry game, and this is the first time we've seen this rivalry in a few years. Are you excited to see the rebirth of this rivalry?
Absolutely. I think everybody should be. From the kids in both programs, but most importantly for the communities. There's no reason why Walker Valley and Cleveland High School should not be playing each other in every sport, especially football, from a revenue standpoint, to financially help their program and take some of the load off of the school in general, right? So anytime you can play someone who's a rivalry and also very good and challenge yourself, and the thing, it's not a region game. It doesn't mean it's not important to us, but as far as what matters most is extending the season. Tonight is just going to be fun. It's going to be, who wants it the most, who makes the least amount of mistakes.
So lastly, obviously controlling the line of scrimmage is going to be big, but what are your other keys to coming out with a victory tonight?
We got to have enough discipline to cut the silly mistakes out, not to make mistakes from either mentally or physically. And do things that I consider beating yourself. What we got to do, and it's the same thing we got to do every week. We got to force the other team to beat us. And if they can't beat us, then and we don't beat ourselves, then we like our chances.
This has been head coach of the Blue Raiders, Marty Wheeler. Big game tonight. Now we're going to speak with some of his athletes. Ryan Lovelace here at Cleveland High School, joined by Edward Cuvion, Tito Boyd, Jonathan Morales, and Bo Baker. Tito, coming off a huge win over Farragut, you ran for over 330 and 2 touchdowns. What was the secret to you coming out and having a huge week?
Honestly, It was the linemen, really. You know, they blocked really well and made a lot of holes for me to break a lot of runs.
So talking about that offensive line, Bo, you're starting at center. Can you talk about how good this offensive line's been all year?
Really, the key is communication. And we have, I think, the best offensive line coach I've ever had, easily. And, yeah, we just have to communicate.
So, Edward, you, Tate, and Leo are all ranked towards the top of the area when it comes to tackles, among other stats. Can you talk about just how good this defense has been all year?
Yeah, we work really well as a team, and, we communicate well, too. And all of us been in the weight room all summer, and we've worked hard for this.
So, Jonathan, big game coming up against Walker Valley. How have you guys prepared? Are you guys ready to beat the Stangs?
We're going to be beating them. Yeah, we've been getting right. We've been making sure we've getting our assignments, alignment assignment, and getting what we need to be doing done. So we're going to be beating them.
All right, we're going to start with you and just go down the line. So what are your individual goals when it comes to stats or winning?
Busting heads. That's all.
I don't know. If I could break the record I just set, that'd be cool, but just want to win.
What do you want to do?
We're going to, for the game?
Just the year.
The year. We are going to be the best team we can possibly. We've been the best this year, and then we're going to be the best Cleveland that we can be.
I agree. And for me personally, well, not me. I just want to win this week. 1 week at a time. 1-0 this week.
All right. How long have you been playing football, and how'd you get into football?
Since, third grade, and LSU from Louisiana really inspired me. Go Tigers.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Counting with Tito Boy.
I've been playing for 7 years, started in middle school. And what was the other question?
How'd you get into football?
I always wanted to do it, but I couldn't do it until middle school.
I started sophomore year. This is my third year playing football. Coach Harmon really inspired me to play.
I've been playing since I was 6. Fun fact, first practice, first hit, Ken's Hooper knocked my tooth out.
All right. What NFL player do you think you play like and why?
Troy Polamalu.
Saquon Barkley, and because our thighs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mix of Minka Fitzpatrick and Jamal Adams.
Yeah. Quentin Nelson, because he's a dog.
All right. Lastly, what's your favorite sports movie if you have one?
The Waterboy.
The Blind Side.
The Blind Side.
The Blind Side.
All right, this has been Ryan Lovelace at Cleveland High School. These guys will play Walker Valley tonight at 7:30. Now we're going to send it back to the station to talk about some other games tonight.
Obviously, we got Walker Valley Cleveland at 7:30 tonight. You can listen to that on Mix 104.1, 99.1, or you can watch live on Mix TV. But still, a lot of other exciting games. First off, East Hamilton at McMinn County. That is a huge one for both teams. McMinn Central will visit the number 1 ranked in the state, Meigs County Tigers. Looking to stay undefeated. It's going to be a tough ask for Matt Moody and his Chargers to come out with a win, but that's why they play the game. Ooltewah will host Baylor. Polk County will host Cumberland County. Ray County will host Red Bank. That is a big game for both teams. Ray County looking to keep rolling. Silverdale also looking to keep rolling. They're 5-0. They'll host DCA. Sweetwater and Sequoia will produce an interesting result, and Copper Basin will travel to Tellico Plains in that region matchup. Moving on to girls soccer, we have a lot of action in girls soccer this week. First, Bradley will travel to East Ridge, and then all 3 teams will play on the 28th, and all 3 teams will play on the 30th. Walker will host CCS, Cleveland will host Grace, and Bradley will travel to Ray County on the 28th. Then Bradley will host Chat Central, Walker Valley will host Signal Mountain, and Cleveland will host Ray County on the 30th. So 6 games in the county if you want to go watch some girls soccer. Moving on to volleyball, as their season finishes up, Bradley will travel to Sail Creek on the 27th. They'll also travel to Ooltewah on the 28th. Cleveland will travel to Howard as well on the 28th, and Walker Valley will travel to Soddy. A lot of traveling on the 28th. Cleveland will host Heritage on the 29th. Then they'll travel to Bradley on the 30th. That's a huge volleyball game there. And then Walker Valley will also host Ray County on the 30th, making up that game that was postponed. That's all our schedules we have for this week. We want to thank you for watching. Shout out to Gideon Ratcliffe. the best producer out there. Next week, we got another exciting show. We'll listen to our performers of the week and our game of the week. But as for me, I'm Ryan Lovelace. From all of us here at Mix 104.1, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of the Southeast Tennessee Sports Show, presented by Check Into Cash and Hardee's. We will see you back here next week.